The voices are going berserk, all shouting at once. I can't make sense of any of it. As soon as I know or sense something, I'll report it, all right? Lord Captain, if you want me to take a closer look into your future, find me on the bridge and we can talk. Lady Theodora was well served by my whispers on many occasions, and I'm sure you would benefit from them as well. The Psyker's bitten lip stretched into a wry smile. All right, I declare this briefing concluded. Time to get to work. Yes, please bow. Grovel before me. Yes, another petitioner. Oh, it's him. Okay. The High Factorum breaks away from the rest and approaches you, bowing repeatedly. It's like he heard me. Wow. Lord Captain, if I may steal just a moment of your time. The matter is rather delicate, as it concerns trophies that were left after the battles on the ship. One trophy in particular, I should say. I received a blade fragment from one of the bodies on the bridge. A curious article. I saw the need to keep it safe in case it should be of interest to you. He says this. As he says this, the Factorum's gaze slides away from yours, and he looks somewhere over your shoulders. Ooh. Why would Ikea tell him to keep it though? How is that iconoclast? Why would I not give it to me for safekeeping and I'll give it to him? I'm gonna take it. You were right to do so. Give it to me. Of course, please. The Factorum takes his time, but after a few moments he withdraws a small, jagged shard from that gleams with a pearlescent luster. Item received, blade shard. Heretical +3. Interesting. Use the system map in the center of the bridge to issue orders to the crew. Wait. Oh, dude, for a second I was like, oh, can I just sit in the chair at any time I want? That would be so cool. The RP is real, boys. The RP is real. Albard, bridge officer. Okay. So now I can do whatever I want. Sweet. So if I'm not mistaken, it's not a minus, it's not a plus or minus system, right? Let me see something. Inventory. Huh. My lights are like blinking. I'm wondering if I should... I don't think I can load it back, can I? I should have saved it at that time. 1246. I think that was the... Let me do this one. Let me see what this does. Maybe it was right before you came up to me. I want to see something. I've got a quick save, so I want to see what happens if I do the iconoclast thing. It does suck because, man, I really like... Oh, no, it's right after that. Okay, well, there's nothing we can do about that. So, I got a little bit of a heretical streak in me. What can I say? It is one of those things, it's like, I do think it's kind of odd the way like chaos is chaos. The way they treat chaos, that's perfectly fine. Got no problem with that. But the way they treat Xenos bothers me because it's kind of fucktarded, right? Because I mean, even if you hate the Xeno, if they're willing to worship the God Emperor and serve him, should they not be allowed to do so? Would that not strengthen the God Emperor in the warp and allow him to fight chaos more effectively if you brought in races that were technically not human into the fold? Or more specifically, if they're willing to die for the Emperor as slaves, why would you not let them? Right? It's kind of the deal.
Lord Captain.
Anyway. Let us talk about things that may be useful to me as a rogue trader.
A noble aspiration, Lord Captain. I am ready to acquaint you with all the particulars that interest you.
All right, outline the situation in the Kronos Expanse for me.
This is a topic for an official briefing, not a casual conversation. But I will try to answer succinctly. And if you permit, in my own words, the Kronos Expanse is considerably removed from the heart of the Imperium. This means that local warp routes become useless within months. Established pathways are regularly subject to attacks from all kinds of rabble. And in the only major port, the Imperium's frigates find themselves moored alongside pirate vessels.
It's always been the Imperium's third biggest weakness. Honestly, I would say it's probably its biggest weakness, isn't it? What's its biggest weakness? For the universe that it lives in, I'd say the Imperium's pretty good to go. It does have problems, obviously.
Until recently, the Kronos Expanse could hardly have been called a region of the Imperium. The situation has changed with the arrival of the Lord Inquisitor, but not by much. This place operates under its own rules, you see. More radical, so to speak. But ones that allow for a non-standard approach where there is a promise of victory. The Kronos Expanse is considered rogue trader territory for a reason. Only rogue traders have sufficient military might, audacity, and the rights granted them by the warrant to survive the leap into the unexplored part of the Expanse. And in the event of a successful outcome, to hold on to whatever they manage to capture on the frontier.
Biggest weakness, galaxy spanning bureaucracy, prominent on paper records. Several of the stories I'm familiar with have crusades fail because the ammo didn't get delivered. Yeah, but shut up. But what the fuck? Huh? The hell is that? Anyway, sorry. Apparently I'm getting deliveries from a freaking U-Haul today. Yeah, I understand that that's the case, but here's the thing. Wouldn't that have happened even if they used computer records? Because you can't really transmit computer records across, galactic distances, interstellar distances. And then on top of that, aren't computers able to be corrupted by chaos? Right? So isn't that why they have a lot of paper stuff? I will admit the bureaucracy, but what else would they do, right? As far as bureaucratic means go. So even though you say it's its biggest weakness, what else are they supposed to do? Yeah, who are the players of the Kronos Expanse?
You should treat official representatives of the Imperium with respect. The Expanse may be on the fringes, but it still numbers among the territories of the Golden Throne. The arrival of the Lord Inquisitor has turned the Kronos Expanse into a less wild and uncontrolled region, to the regret of some individuals who had grown inured to the local lawlessness.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. If you lack options, then you basically have one shitty choice to take and you just fucking make the best of it, right? And the rest of it comes down to the competence of the officers and personnel that you put in charge of it, right? Hence why the Crusades fail, because they lack ammo. It just like what was it? God, there was a specific one I'm thinking of. It was, I think it was. I think Arch is making videos on him right now. But he was talking. But there was a specific battle where they were supposed to be resupplied with a certain type of las ammo, and they were given the wrong ammo. And so, because they naturally keep a lot of ammo, as backup, they weren't completely out of ammo. But it was one of those things, like they might have been just shit out of luck and had to use bayonets if they hadn't, right? But that was due to the officers' incompetence as well as the people giving the orders, rather than the fact that they use paper.
Rogue traders such as yourself are also servants of the...
Or the bureaucracy itself.
They have been accorded special rights and powers.
But yeah,
they wield
it is a huge weakness
within their territory, and they enjoy absolute respect in other parts of the Expanse. The most powerful of them are Kalagos Winterscale and Incendia Bastal Chorda. Tread carefully when dealing with either of them. If we are to speak of unclaimed territory, which is what Footfall is, among the scum that dwells on that handful of asteroids, there are 3 factions that wield considerable influence in the sector. The first is the Kazbala Commission, organized crime in its most primitive form. It holds sway over the Liege of Footfall and has links to rogue trader Winterscale. The second faction is an offshoot of our shining ecclesiarchy, followers of St. Drusus. They are actively building their forces and hold influence over
That's where I heard it
trader
from.
Chorda.
Only war.
And finally, the third faction, the
Chronos
Explorators, a wing of the Adeptus Mechanicus. They are willing to die and kill for the secrets of the ancient technological heresies that are hidden among the stars of the Coronis Expanse.
That's what it was. That's what it was. It was fucking St. Drusus. My only war campaign that I played with Shogalicious, my dude was a freaking priest, and he worshipped, or he followed St. Drusus. That's what it was. Cult of St. Drusius, a legendary hero of the Angevian Crusade who founded the Calixtus sector. That's it. That's it. Fuck yeah. Conrad, our previous Master of Whispers. What can you tell me about his betrayal? What do you think he will do next?
You know, Lord Captain, I am no admirer of fine art. But when we next find ourselves in a civilized port, with time to spare, I will promptly find an artist and commission a portrait of the individual to whom you refer, with a hole between the eyes. Conrad Voitvir. That he committed his treachery and escaped with his life was an unforgivable oversight.
And let's not forget, he's a Chaos Worshipper now.
We both served Lord Captain Theodora for many years, and we never saw eye to eye. He was brash. He was never afraid of assuming responsibility, and he willingly took on difficult tasks. I am loath to admit it, but the Von Valancius Protectorate continues to reap the fruits of his labors to this day. His service always garnered my respect. But everything else about him made me want to wring the neck of that two-faced snake.
Dude, the voice actor of Albert is fucking off the chain.
If you are taking comfort in the thought that we will hear no more of Conrad, prepare to be disappointed. You thwarted his plans, his meticulously plotted and nurtured treachery. He is sure to attempt to strike at you, and he will use his contacts and knowledge of the Protectorate to do so. The only question, Lord Captain, is whether you will be able to anticipate his next steps. As you wish,
right, that's all for
Lord
now.
Captain.
I would like to know my senator.
As you wish, Lord Captain. What would you like to know?
What were you before
I
this?
used to be an officer in the Navis Imperialis. No, I used to be is not quite right. It was not simply a job. It was my calling, the essence of my life. I was proud to serve Lord Captain Theodora, but in my heart and mind, I'm still an officer of the Imperium.
My
I
man.
met Lord Captain Theodora on a mission where the Imperial Navy was providing reinforcement to the rogue traders' army on one of the frontier worlds. Our acquaintance was not easy. Working with people outside the Navy hierarchy has never been my strong suit. It was to my great surprise then, that after the mission's completion, I received a referral to leave my service in the Navy. and join the rogue trader's personal council.
Holy shit.
It was a difficult choice for me. But I saw in the offer a chance to serve the interests of humanity even more effectively than in the Navis Imperialis. You do not need me to tell you just how remarkable a person Lord Captain Theodora was. I recognized her at once as a true leader and formidable creative force. One who had built a protectorate amidst the dangers and wildness of the Expanse.
Yeah, leaving the Navy couldn't have been easy for you. Why were you permitted to quit your post? Secret fantasies, I know, right?
You could say there was no one among the naval command who was willing to impede the wishes of the rogue trader. To do so would be to risk their own position and their relationship with Theodora. The Lord Captain possessed certain contacts in the Imperial Navy. Contacts which she used to request help during the conflict on the border world. And which enabled her to make me an offer that resulted in my joining her retinue.
Fucking crows.
The Navis Imperialis is an ancient institution
Ooh.
with its own mandates and muster lists. On occasion, in the heat of an official briefing or an informal discussion, I violated those rules, determined to press my point. It is challenging to choose the words to accurately express my opinion on a situation or the actions of others that do not sound overly scathing or confrontational. Many in command were inclined to view my manner of speaking as unbefitting a person of my rank.
Nice. Let's see what he says. Were you in love with her?
What? Lord Captain, any allegations of improper feelings or unsanctioned relations are utterly baseless and bordering on the insulting. Utterly baseless.
There's no option to continue to stare at him. Do you have a family, good
I
sir?
am a widower. I am a father of 4, and if my information is not outdated, a grandfather of 11. My family lives on Dargonus. None of my children express any eagerness or aptitude for serving aboard ship, and I would hardly have insisted that they follow in my footsteps.
Thank you. No more questions.
Of course.
You never called him on that? He did sound to bluster a bit, didn't he? Until
Lord
next
Captain.
time. Jocasta Sourpack is the very picture of discipline. Her uniform is exquisitely pressed, her armor is polished, her posture is imposing and rigid. The only flaw in her immaculate appearance is the heavy enforcer's maul, which is worn and battered from frequent use. She salutes you with a practiced motion. Greetings, Lord Captain. How did you come to serve aboard my flagship? I come from the noble Sourback family of the capital world of Dragonus. I dare say our house is renowned for its loyal and strict adherence to the law. I like to hear it. And the members of my family have been your faithful enforcers for centuries. I am honored to be the 6th Master of Arms named Sourback to serve on this ship. Wow. Why are you here instead of basking in the luxury of Dragonus? Because of my cousin Macarius. A furious crease appears between her brows. I cannot stand him, but the feeling is mutual. We can hardly be in the same room together. So I jumped at the opportunity to become your enforcer. I should thank my obnoxious cousin for nudging me toward the best decision of my life. I serve you with all my heart and wish for no other fate than this one. Nice. How did you come by that Imperial armor that you wear? I inherited it from the previous Master at Arms. Like the esteemed Seneschal, I left the Navy to serve Lady Theodora. He brought quite a few officers with him and established a tradition. Upon the death or resignation of an enforcer, his or her armor would be passed on to fellow officer who had distinguished themselves in the course of their duties. I was awarded armor in this way in my time, and upon the death of my predecessor, I inherited his personal armor. Now that's some good shit right there. That's some good shit. Okay. What do you think about the other officers? I do not trust them, but I do not trust anyone. Mistress Ptolemaine has too much power, and will surely be tempted to start deciding for herself what information to share with the crew on your behalf and what to withhold. Ravor is closely intertwined with the ship's systems, which opens up plenty of opportunities for sabotage. He must be watched, and as for Danrock, forgive me, but a man of his size and habits cannot help but steal. Damn, girl. Woo! Oof. No body positivity here, are we? And what can you tell me about Albard? The Seneschal is a model of competence and fidelity. And all three officers and enforcers look up to him with gratitude. A grimace of fierce devotion takes hold over Sourback's face before she abruptly grits her teeth and continues. It is all the more distressing to see that the years have not been kind to the deeply respected Master Werishan. Soon, there will be no rejuvenant treatment that can save him from the mistakes inherent to such an advanced age. But we are ever watchful, and we will be there to steady the trembling hand of our honored veteran if need be. Tell me about your service. I am ready to answer any questions, Lord Captain. There are thousands of people aboard this vessel. How do you maintain order? 2 words, Lord Captain. Suppression and fear. I really like her. The base nature of the rabble cries for an iron grip, lest they give in into their animal urges. We have many well-tested measures to prevent it. Random night searches, preventative interrogations, corporal punishment, and executions. Of course, the laws of the ship equally apply to the officers. We eradicate the canker of insubordination whenever we find it, without mercy. What are your duties? I am responsible for upholding the safety and order aboard the ship. Guard duties, patrols, finding and punishing troublemakers. In addition, my enforcers ensure the crew follow the directives and carry out their tasks properly. As they say in my family, a servant who shows disobedience today prepares a riot tomorrow. Nice. And your previous master-at-arms and his mistakes? You could be sure of that. He was a fine enforcer, but suffered from the fatal flaw of trusting his associates. The more she talks, the more I like her. I myself lack that weakness and trust no one except you, Lord Captain. She's definitely growing on me. She's definitely growing on me. Yep. Absolutely. Alright, what do we got? High Factorum Janus Denrock. The corpulent man in lavish clothes bows before you not without difficulty. A servo skull whirs over his shoulder while the fingers of his augmented hand drum against the sheafs of paper he is holding. And he regards you with an attentive interest through the lens of his magnifying implant. Greetings, your ladyship. Generous Denrock at your service. How did you come to serve the Von Valencius dynasty? I come from Dragonus, your ladyship. I have been a subject of your dynasty since birth, and have always strived to be of use to the great rogue traitor. Alas, it was not my fate to be the primary heir of my own family, due to my being 15th in line for the title. So I decided not to stand in the way of those behind me in case they attempted to shorten the waiting list at my expense. Janice lets out an almost kindly chuckle. While my brothers and sisters schemed against one another, I studied the exact sciences and mastered bookkeeping. The greatest art of the Adeptus Administratum. I must admit that the accumulation of wealth, something one can control, is far more exciting than hunting, carousing, and the other traditional amusements of my noble peers. are in need of training. What does this do? My retinue and I are in need of training. Oh, it resets your character. Okay. You can recruit just random dudes. That's cool. Skilled fighters. I will contact the overseers at once. Wait, what? I can just make one up on my own? That's cool. Custom character. Oh, Gilmora getting that Tango life, baby. The Tango life. She's a bad looking bitch. Great victory. She's from an Imperial world. Brand of shame. She can run and gun. That's cool. And I can just build my own character after that? Dude, that is cool, man. Alright. I'm gonna, like... It's all for now. I can sit here for hours and just talk to everybody. I need to get going. Need to get on going. Where is Idra? There she is. Idra, yeah. The tall, middle-aged woman stares straight ahead, her eyes vacant, as she rubs the implant at her temple. Her collar is undone, and one of the clasps on the verge of falling off. Sensing your presence, Idra turns her head toward you and offers a crooked smile, even as her eyes look right through you. Yeah, about your abilities. Let's talk about that.
What are you talking about, Lord Captain?
You are a psyker, and they are only granted the right to live with the Emperor's blessing. Have you ever been to Terra?
Look, Lady Theodora couldn't care less if some eggheads measured my brains or not. It's not about the seal on your forehead, get it? It's about what's in your gut, if it's rotten or not. My gut's stronger than the adamantine on this here ship. And my implants are better than the ones they put in you on your Terra. If they weren't, I wouldn't have lived as long as I have.
I think I smell heresy. Okay. Things are strained between you and Argenta, is that right? Or that's her name?
Of course.
Shit! Me clicking the wrong button.
The little sister is afflicted with her own set of voices. Ones that whisper to her about corruption and heresy. The silly girl doesn't realize that if she wants to find the source, she needs to start by looking in her own head.
Did you know Theodore well?
None of the officers knew the Lord Captain well. Not even Abelard, and she was always closer to him than anyone else. She told me from the off that if I ever listened to anything in the warp about her without her permission, I'd be going out through the airlock. I'm not an idiot, so I never stuck my nose where it didn't belong. Only when I was asked.
So technically, if I'm supposed, all right, I just want to run the logic through here. If I were to want to be the most dogmatic individual possible, then I should just execute her. Right? Pretty sure that's how that works. An unsanctioned psyker aboard my ship? Never! But I don't see the option to shoot her in the face.
Around the fact that she's gone. Lady von Valancius gave me everything I have. She opened the stars to me and the paths between them. I still think I can hear her voice.
Yes. Heresy! All heresy, yes, yes. Why? I was praising this game. I was like, this is such a good game. Look at all the things it allows you to do. It feels like it's like pure 40K. But the goddamn heretical unsanctioned psyker is standing right before me and I can't execute the bitch.
Lyra, an outlying world in the Heathen Stars region. In the Coronis Expanse, the deeper you go, the less visible the Astronomicon gets, and the less people know about the Imperium. The arrival of a rogue trader is the best thing that can happen to a world like that. The very best.
Well, tell me about it.
It's an out-of-the-way planetoid between two faint stars. On Lyra, a dozen local tyrants fight over 5 measly continents. But they use everything they can to win. From poison to psychers. I haven't been there in many years, but there's nothing for me to miss. Trust me. But here on the ship is a different story altogether. I saw more wonders in my first year serving Lady von Valancius than I'd seen in my whole life on Lyra. Like my first journey through the warp, I was in bed for 3 days. I felt like supernovas were exploding in my head. I only found out later that I'd gotten off easy. Just through the bulkhead in the bay next to mine, a whole team turned into... Look at me rambling on, Lord Captain. Pay no attention.
Like, fair enough. Fair enough. You're wondering why I'm so tall all of a sudden? It's because I'm standing on a balance board. I bought one for the... I have one for my workout for my gym downstairs, but I bought another one so I could stand at my desk and do it. It's pretty cool. It's a little bit odd to do it while I'm standing at the computer because I can, you know, keep myself balanced while I'm have my hands on the thing. Yeah, go on. No. Finish that story.
It wasn't like it was a very fun trip, Lord Captain. But look, if you want to be entertained, I'm the woman for the job. I'll entertain you with one of the stories from my collection, no problem. But if you want to hear about the time I melted everyone in the bay next door, well, I just don't really want to go into the details on that one, all right?
Oh, you did it. You did it. What did you do before the ship?
Oh, I embroidered wall hangings in honor of our national heroes. I did the same thing I do here, Lord Captain. Divining. Our rulers prized the ability to see into the future. Every psyker that could be found was worth a small fortune on Lyra.
There we go. That way you can't see the green screen. So you aren't on a boat trying to keep balance? No. I'm just standing here. Look, I'll show you. Watch. It's actually a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. When I first got it, I was like, man, this isn't going to be nothing. And like for the first time I got on it, I wasn't even able to keep one side. I couldn't even keep it off the ground. I think it took me about an hour of standing on it to actually like figure out how to balance on it properly.
There's no such thing as a peaceful life on Lyra. People like me were especially sought after. They'd pick psychers up wherever they found them, buy kids off their parents, even just abduct them. Take me, for instance. I got taken from my street gang. The older kids sold me when they noticed there was something off about me. The ruling dynasties had schools where they trained us and beat us black and blue. And then they packed us off to serve. Some of us held on for a long time, but others didn't last. Not everyone's as smart and talented as me, you know. Some people crossed the line and were out of commission before their time.
She looks at you expectantly. Then, as though clarifying, she uses her hands to indicate her head exploding and laughs. Very nice.
Theodora von Valancius paid a visit to the ruler I was serving at the time. I don't know what the visit was for, and it's no business of mine anyway. I can still remember the way the voices in my head changed when I looked at her. They were practically screaming. She had so much behind her, and plenty ahead of her too. As I gawped at her, all of a sudden I heard a whisper. A hint, a suggestion, nothing more. But I know the difference between idle chatter and a real threat. I seized my chance and approached Theodora. I managed to whisper a couple of words in her ear before the wardens dragged me away. They beat me and locked me up. No wonder. It wasn't my place to converse with outsiders. And then Theodora's people came for me. They broke down the wall, butchered the guards. Also, I could tell them my warning in full. So I said the rest, but I didn't want to go back to my old life. And so I entered the service of the Van Valancius dynasty.
And have you ever been off the ship?
A few times. Not many. And if I think about it, why would I want to? I've got everything I need here. All the whispers I hear are familiar ones. They almost feel like family. And if I want to hear about the nightmares off the ship, I can. After some Amisec. But don't go getting the wrong idea. If I have to, I'll follow you to the edge of the galaxy.
Oh, really? You didn't know? Dude, I love shit like this. I'm a huge, like, this is why I love RPGs, is world building, because it sucks you into the world. This is what video games and games in general should be. It should suck you the fuck in.
Of course, Lord Captain.
Let's ask her something stupid. It's funny that you can ask her what it's like to be a psyker when you're a psyker.
You could ask yourself that question, eh, Lord Captain?
So they let you ask the dumbass question and then treat you like a dumbass for asking it. Bravo. 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 Maybe it should have been like, what's it like to be an augury?
Every psyker feels their connection with the warp in their own way. One person might see spots and shadows out of the corner of their eye. Another feels fingers running down their spine. As for me, I've got a door in my head. One that's open just a crack. There's no way to close it, no matter how hard I try. I've just had to get used to the whispers from the other side. When I need to use it for work, I listen in more closely. But I usually just try not to notice it.
You usually hit certain questions, but I don't hit every single one. I love asking all the questions. I want to hear as much. I want to read and hear as much dialogue as I possibly can. Because, like I said, it's one of those things. It's part of the escapism of it, right? It's one of the reasons why using modern language, like in Dragon Age: The Veilguard, is so shitty to do in fantasy games that aren't about our world today. Like if they had made a game that was based in our world right now, but it had like magic and shit in it that was like just discovered and all this crazy shit was happening, but they did stupid shit like that in it, people still wouldn't like it, but it wouldn't be nearly as off-putting, right? Why? Yeah, it's just so fucking stupid. They got RP about 80 to 90% of the correct, one of the few successes these last years. It's 40k, it's so fun, no mercy. Yes, it is. And that's one of the things that kind of makes me sad about the 40k verse, is that they decided to move the plot line forward for the entire galaxy, which seems kind of fucking stupid to me when you have an entire galaxy. Now, I don't know if you guys know this or how big an actual galaxy is, but you can have an interstellar empire that is, how do I put this? That dwarfs anything you could ever conceive of, and it barely needs to be 100 light years in diameter. And the galaxy is 100,000 light years in diameter. When they say the Imperium is made up of a million worlds, it's bullshit. It's probably more like a couple hundred billion. And they just lost count. Because like the size of the galaxy is absolutely insane. there's so many stories that you could tell, especially considering the fact that you have the entire time period between 30K and 40K. It's just, it boggles my mind because there's literally no reason to do it. There never was. There was no impetus, nothing. You know what I mean? So it kind of, the reason it bothers me is because I know the lore. I haven't read the books, but I do know the lore, and I don't know who came up with it, but they should be thrown out of an airlock in Minecraft. Because it's just like, so you're gonna improve on the God Emperor's design with the Adeptus Astartes to make the Primaris. That in and of itself is like so heretical as fuck. It's not even funny. But let's just say that's okay. I could accept that alone. That would be cool. He makes a new kind of thing, and then all the Space Marines go through the Rubicon surgery, and you know some of them don't survive, and boom, you've got a new type of Space Marine. That would actually be okay. That would be cool. It's still heretical, but you could kind of wave that away. The problem is not really that, even though it is a problem. You can hand wave that. You know, the Imperium, they allow heretical shit every now and then when it benefits them, right? The problem is that asshole not only made new Marines, but he made them like 10,000 fucking years ago. And continued to make them for 10,000 years. Kept them in fucking stasis and storage. And only brought them out recently when the Imperium was at its most dire. You know, even though there's been story upon story upon story upon story about how the Imperium almost fell like a dozen fucking times. Oh, you know, like when the Orc Primarchs were around and shit. Firstborn Marines. Yes, Firstborn Marines. Like I said, I think I would have been okay with just having Primaris Marines and upgrading Space Marines to Primaris and then having every new Marine be a Primaris, so you would still have like the Firstborn thing. But the keeping them in storage for thousands of years, and they already have all of their equipment. They're already fully supplied, and they're literally just in stasis. And this is thousands upon thousands upon thousands of Marines, especially from chapters that that have only existed a few thousand years, right? And like, what about chapters like, what is it, the Dark Angels, right? Where they like have like the blood thing that makes them go fucking crazy. How can you have a full reinforcements of those guys when it doesn't make any sense to do so? By the way their lore works, right? Because don't they like all see Sanguinius like right before they die or some shit like that? Visions of Sanguinius when he died, I think. I can't remember exactly how. So yeah, but it's just one of those things. It's like, and the worst part is there's no real way to fix it. I don't, unless they retcon the fact that there were no, that they hadn't been in storage for 10,000 years. Because I don't know if you know this, but in Space Marine 2, one of your bros, I think it's the black dude, was there during the Crusade. Yep. Death Company. There you go. Blood Vampire. Yeah, that's it. That's it. It's Blood Angels. My bad. I said Dark Angels. Yeah, Blood Angels. The Dark Angels are the green dudes. My bad. My bad. Sorry. I saw that movie recently with the Dark Angels in it, and it was fucking amazing. Like, they were fighting on that Necron planet. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. But yeah, the Death Company. And it's just like one of those things where it's like, how do you get Primaris Marines? Because like that's part of the culture, right? They're not. That was the whole reason they had chapters, is for that kind of cultural thing that was going on there. And it feels like it just violates the entire reason you had them. Not only that, Gilliman is also violating his own tenets when he has fucking legions again. It's just, oh my god. And again, the legion, like all of those things are just kind of like whatever, right? It's the Primaris Marines that were in storage, in stasis for thousands of years. It was the fact that the logistics, like we were talking, PS359 was talking about logistics, or was it you? I can't remember. Actually, no. It wasn't PS3. It was Hidden Sage was talking about logistics earlier and how you can, whole crusades were lost because of logistics and won because of it. Imagine the logistics of making the Primaris Marines, keeping them hidden in stasis, and still being able to supply them some power and life support for that, and making all their fucking equipment in secret. They have entire Forge worlds that make fucking Space Marine shit. For singular, chapters, right? How the fuck does that work? Deus Ex Machina, I know, dude, it's so stupid. Again, if they hadn't, if they took out they've been in storage for 10,000 years, it probably wouldn't be nearly as bad, because you just take the Space Marines you have, right, and then you recruit more Space Marines and you make them Primaris from the beginning, and then you do the Rubicon thing to make the new ones, right? That would have been at least better as far as storytelling and world building. But you're right, it is basically Deus Ex Machina. I mean, literally, it would have made more sense for the fucking Emperor to stand up and just do some kind of magic shit, and it just do this huge wave across the entire galaxy and converted all the Space Marines into Primaris. That would have actually made more fucking sense in the world and how world building works in 40K, because of just the logistical nightmare that is 40K, right? Like I said, think about that. Not only did he do all this, but he did this for every single chapter that exists within the 40K universe, and had them spread out across the galaxy. Yep. Oh, so how do you live with the whispering in your head?
Training, habit, and a little amasec and a couple other things you can get on the lower decks. If you put all those together, it makes things bearable. Sometimes I even wonder if I'm imagining half the voices I hear. When life on board gets a little boring. Better than listening to the living, anyhow.
And what would happen if your door burst open?
Well, if the door opens, that means somebody's planning to come in, right? But screw them. They're not coming through. Trust me. I know how to keep my valuable head locked up tight.
Aren't you afraid of losing control?
Only losers who are afraid of their own gift lose control. Or idiots who never figure out what they are before it's too late. Or little kids who want to play around with their shiny new toy. If you don't know the limits of your abilities, or you're always bouncing around in your own head, that's a recipe for disaster.
And can you see my future?
All right. That's what I'm here for, after all. So, I'm just going to lean on that door in my head a little more, prick up my ears, and listen to what the warp's got to say about you. If you'll allow it, I can listen right now.
Go for it, darling.
Right. Let's hear what they're whispering about you.
Idra laughs, rubs her hands together, and suddenly freezes with a vacant smile on her face. Her head slightly tilted. You feel goosebumps appear on your skin, and your collar begins to waver ever so slightly, as if moved by a breeze from a half-open door.
Seek not on firm ground, but in a golden hall suspended in the void. There waits a child without kin, but with a name blind to truth. She draws the brush across the canvas and does not notice that her palette is full not of paint, but of blood. And with each smear, this well does not deplete, but fills and fills up to the brim. One thing is clear. When this vessel overflows, none will remain unstained. Among the blind men and false prophets, a red-robed sage seeks the answer to a question. He does not know
Inquisitor.
that it is not the answer he must seek, But the question that will draw everything into focus.
Right?
Will you help him, Rogue Trader? But mark that sometimes ignorance is sweeter than oblivion.
See, I don't like it when you say shit like that. I don't want my soul to be eaten by Slanesh now.
A hound chases after glimmers of the aurora, but sparks in the scent of oil confound his nose. A chain trails after him. What will happen if you pick it up? Will you become his mistress? Or merely another beast in the pack of his true lord?
I will not become his whore.
The glow of dawn bursts forth from its prison. Dungeon walls cannot contain the dark essence wallowing in the dust. A naive cub pushes his nose into a familiar hand, one that holds death in twisted glass. Cherish it or cast it off as a burden. The sword of change has already been raised. What is one more life to it? I'm sorry, Lord Captain. The voices are going wild. I can't make out a thing. I'll try to rein them in, somehow. But for now...
Interesting. All right.
Of course. Always at your service. Whenever you need me.
Got nightmare fuel for lifetimes, I know, right? Voidsman in arms. That's me. Where is the Master Helmsman? There she is. Enric.
Rogue Trader.
Sister looks tired. The dark circles under her eyes, her hair somewhat disheveled, and she moves like she is on edge. Sister, you said you had a personal request for me.
I indeed have a request, Rogue Trader.
Very well. Aw, come on. No voice acting for this? Come on, she's my favorite character so far. The accursed servants of chaos who assaulted the ship took the lives of your loyal crew members, and they orphaned many children, including the progeny of the brave officers who defended their post until the bitter end. I don't know what customary practices there are for the cases in this, like this in the Von Valencius territory, but in a world I'm familiar with, the children of such brave souls could expect to receive some special consideration. Perhaps the Rogue Trader could meet with the orphans? Do you wish to fill these children's head with the illusions of the world and its rulers care about them? And what good would meeting them do? Let's see what she says. I know, right, kindergarten captain? These children are the future of your crew, and one day they too will have to stand against evil and heresy as their parents did. By meeting them, by speaking the right words to them, you will honor the memory of the fallen heroes and light the way to heroes in the making. They will always remember the day they met the Rogue Trader. Besides, it will bolster their orphan spirit and help them recover from their losses, which can be hard for some so young. Make the arrangements. I will speak with the orphans. Absolutely. Seneschal is one of the closest associates to Lady Theodora. He has spent decades serving... Oh, it's loading. Okay. Oh, okay. It literally right now. All right. Fair enough. Why do they look like halflings? They look like miniature humans, not actually like children. I guess they're like preteens or like you know, young teenagers, I guess. They're tiny. A group of adolescents, I guess, are clearly dressed in their finest, freshly pressed clothes, forms a straight line before you. Some stare at you with wide eyes, like you're some sort of mythical creature, while others huddle together in fear and look away. Our indefatigable sister, I love that fucking word, has been keeping an eye on these pups. Albedard regards the gathered children. It's hardly the Scola Progenium in here, but we have provided the orphans on our ship with adequate care and instruction. Argentina stands to the side of the group as you approach. She perks up and announces, her voice ringing. Brave ones, the master of this ship has appeared before you, the one who guides it through the darkness of the universe by the Emperor's will. Greet your Lord Captain, the rogue traitor of House von Valentius. Enric Montag. You notice the Infernus Master Enric Montag standing a few paces away from the children. He wasses you with approval and bows respectfully when you meet his gaze. Infernus Master, do you serve as a teacher in your spare time? Let me see. Not at all, your ladyship. I'm just looking out for them. It's the Infernus's way to help folks in trouble. It's our job, after all. So we chip in rations here and there and make sure nobody gives them a hard time. We take the older ones in the clan's care if they want. Many in the guild are not our family by blood, but by circumstance. Indeed. Wow, that's so shitty. Give them treats and escort them to their homes. I believe a minute of beholding the Lord Captain is great enough honor for them. Now, we smile at the group. Your Lord Captain greets you, brave ones. The teenagers keep staring at you. A girl who has remained close to Argentia smiles uncertainly. A skinny, pale lad tries to throw his shoulders back and stand at attention like a soldier. Only a few teenagers at the far end of the room seem sullen and not particularly impressed. One of the scowling visitors, with a thin scar across his face, tosses his head back and says bitterly, "So what? Why should we care? Our friends and parents died in the dozens for you noble lot, and you just give us speeches?" There's always a few, right? Am I literally gonna have to fucking execute children today? Like, are we really going that route today, buddy? Is that what you want? Argentina quickly turns to the boy. A flurry of emotions flashes in her dark eyes. She both wants to calm him and shoot him in the face for his impudence. She said scold him, scold him. Audience is over. Infernus Master, since you were so concerned about the orphans. Address the group. If you have things to say, say them without fear. I will listen. The boy smiles grimly. It doesn't matter what we say. It won't bring our parents back. And it won't change our fates either. We'll keep slaving away on this ship until we drop and die like our folks. Or worse. To be fair, he is a child, so, you know. He's not an adult yet. Okay. To understand your grief and your dismay. Your parents died. It's not an easy thing to go through. But they gave their lives for the truth, for the good of the whole ship, for the Imperium. Do not speak of their honorable fate with anger and disdain. You heard the rogue traitor. Her words carry the wisdom of the Imperium. I gotta admit, dude, this is some cool shit role-playing right here. Like, I am actually super entertained right now. It's hard to say whether or not your words have left an impression on the boy, but he nods slowly. Then he catches himself and gives you an awkward bow. Albert gives a sign, and the servants immediately emerge carrying packaged treats with Von Valentius emblazoned on the wrappers. It appears the Seneschal came prepared for any contingency. You know, it'd be really great if I actually had, like, robes I could wear, since I'm like the rogue trader now, instead of wearing like my shitty gear that I have on. Argentia rubs her temples pensively. She smiles and offers a few more words of encouragement, then leaves the boy. I kind of want to say more, but sure. It's just one of those funny things. It's like, your daddy died saving the ship. That's why you didn't get a bolter to the face. Remember that. And I think one of the reasons that I've seen so far in this game that I really like about it is that unlike most other RPGs and role-playing games in general, there's always a good option, a bad option, a middle-of-the-road option, and like other ancillary things, but rarely does the actual universe you exist in, rarely is it so shitty that even your good options are pretty much shit compared to our world. It's a lot like the fact that so many idiots claim that Warhammer 40k and the Imperium specifically are fascist and all this stupid shit. It's like, bruh, like xenophobia, like there is no xenophobia in 40k. Xenophobia is an irrational fear of the other. Being afraid of Xenos is a perfectly rational thing. Being afraid of demons is a perfectly rational thing to be. Holy shit. So it's kind of like, dude, like chill out, man. It really fucking bothers me. The thin, pale woman stands out among the rest of the crew. There's a thick bundle of cables. Oh, and not only that, like the funniest part about it is that Warhammer 40k is actually the most egalitarian setting I've ever fucking seen. Like hands down. Men, women, children, you know, young, old, black, white, brown, red, you know, cat girls, fucking rat dudes, giant ogre looking motherfuckers. Everybody serves the Emperor and is meat for the grinder. There are no exceptions. The RP choices are about like Colony Ship, though Colony Ship is a bit more shitty no matter what at times. Yeah. Well, I think one of the reasons why that might be the case in this one that it's not is because you are an actual being of power as a rogue trader, which I can imagine it would be a lot shittier if you were like a guy on the lower decks. You see the grate of quietly humming Vox where her mouth should be. The woman sees you and bows her head respectfully. How may I serve you, Lord Captain? I wish to bolster the morale of the crew. Wait. Shouldn't this be... No, it's a fellowship check. Okay, never mind. Your appearance is unique. You are Voidborn, are you not? By making everyone life suck equally like the USSR approach to equality. Yeah, I know, right? CS says you start... Yeah, exactly. My appearance comes from my heritage. Generation after generation of people who spent their entire lives in the depths of the void ship. Neither we nor our ancestors have left our home, but the same can be said for many of the Denzians of the Imperium's million worlds. We are used to the silence of the cosmos and the voices of the ship. There are thousands of us, but we dwell far from the Lord Captain's upper decks and remain unseen. We are Voidborn. Nice. All right, boys. Well, unfortunately, I think we're gonna call the stream there. We got a good 4 hours in, but I got some work to do, and I want to spend some time with my family today. We might start her up tomorrow. I'm gonna talk to the wife about it. I'm trying to go every other day, but man, I fucking want to play video games. So love you guys. Thank you for being here. Very much appreciate all the eyeballs on the screen. I cannot thank you enough for that. I will be posting the VODs for this very soon. I'm definitely going to try to keep doing that from now on. I've got a much better way of doing it, so hopefully we can keep that going. So until then, my dudes, it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. I'll see you then, boys. Peace out, my dudes.